This is a Pubcast Shot. I'm John Loomer. Stop searching for the magical ad strategy. Let's go. So I often hear from advertisers who are stuck. So whether they've booked a one-on-one with me or they share their roadblocks in my private community, make sure you join PHC Elite, by the way. Or maybe it's like on social media. Reddit is a disaster, by the way. Lots of this happens there. The story goes like this. They've tried everything and they just can't get good results. They'll then go through a long list of strategies that they've tried, right? So, we did the Advantage Plus shopping. We tried catalog ads, lookalike audiences, detailed targeting, remarketing. They have this intricate testing strategy to help isolate the most clickable ads. Or they've tried various guru strategies that guarantee results. They sound impressive because they're complicated, and these gurus and their students share their amazing results, so we know that it works. Yeah. So when someone comes to me with this information, I just want to shake them a little bit and tell them to wake up. It just pains me when I hear this. Now, the problem is rooted in an industry-wide misunderstanding of what impacts results. Those gurus and wannabe gurus have somehow convinced a very large number of people that some magical strategy is the secret. It's not. Most of these claims are nothing but snake oil. They ignore the fundamental sources of performance that have nothing to do with a magical strategy that can be packaged and sold in a training course. And if anything, many of these strategies will actually hurt results rather than help. So let me explain. First, let's talk about those targeting strategies. Most of them are pointless. Back in the day, every advertiser, myself included, was after the ideal targeting strategy. They experimented with different interests and lookalikes. They layered interests and lookalikes. They'd create several ad sets targeting each approach, looking to isolate what works best. Could be a split test, maybe not, didn't matter. Now, for whatever reason, some advertisers still do this. Now, regardless of what you think about algorithmic targeting, you can't avoid it now. So when you're optimizing for conversions and you use interests and behaviors, they're only seen as suggestions. The same goes for lookalike audiences. And it does not matter if you're using Advantage Plus audience or you're not. The algorithm is going to do what it wants to do. So when you create multiple ad sets attempting to isolate the best approach, each ad set is likely doing the same thing. Now, you're going to get different results, but it's going to be based in randomness. It's not due to some perfect combination of interests and lookalikes. So don't get lost in targeting strategies based on interests and lookalikes. Of course, there's also remarketing, and many of these magical strategies are focused there. Now, these are convincing because they often do show amazing results. But there are so many problems when it comes to remarketing. It's usually misleading because results are propped up by view-through conversions. And it's not incremental or scalable or potentially even necessary. I say that because remarketing happens naturally now. So all these people, you're saying, I want to go after my website visitors, my email list, and the people engage with my Facebook posts and this and that. It's happening anyway. And you can prove this to yourself with audience segments. Now, I could spend an entire episode talking about the pitfalls of centering your entire strategy around remarketing. And yeah, I've actually already done that. So make sure you listen to my episode from February on this topic. So what about testing strategies? Well, most of those are counterproductive. They're pointless busyness with very little benefit. So it looks like you're really doing something important that might not really be leading to much. Create a separate campaign for testing, right? A separate ad set for each ad variation. Sometimes they recommend optimizing for link clicks so you can isolate the highest CTR, which, if you didn't know, is complete nonsense, since that doesn't mean it will lead to conversions. And then you take the winners and you put them into your main campaign. It's all just so unnecessary. There's no guarantee that the winners you found in testing, usually small sample size testing, will perform well in your main campaign. And those results, like I said, are often based in small sample size randomness. I've seen some small budget advertisers do all of this complex nonsense to slice and dice results, hoping to find a winner, and they're just wasting their time and what little budget they have. Of course, I did an episode on all the issues of small budget advertisers using big budget strategies a few weeks back, so make sure you check that out. Any potential lift you get from most of these testing strategies is canceled out by the fragmentation that's happening. It's not that testing is bad, right? But there isn't a magical testing strategy that will fix your bad results. And then there are all these super complex strategies that honestly I really don't even get the point. I'm sure you've seen them. They're all across the board. Create a whole bunch of ad sets with like $1 daily budget I've seen before, right? There's a reason behind it. Not really sure. Or create 10 ad sets targeting the same audience to, honestly, I'm not even sure exactly why. Most complex structure strategies are based in voodoo and claim to have mysterious powers over the algorithm. So basically, whoever came up with these strategies take advantage of advertisers' distrust of Meta generally and lack of understanding overall regarding how the algorithm works. It's time that you ignore all of the noise, not just the suggestions, the recommendations, the gurus, but all the noise that you're creating for yourself. So many signals that you're trying to listen to. Look, the primary source of your problems has nothing to do with whether you've implemented a magical strategy. It's the ad copy, the creative, the product, the offer, the landing page. No magical strategy will fix a broken product. No amount of targeting and complex campaign construction is going to fix bad copy and creative. So here's the bottom of the glass. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Abandon those complex strategies. I need you to understand that none of this peripheral stuff matters all that much, if at all. So if you're stuck, do not get lost in the how of running ads. It's not the secret to your success or your failure. So don't get hung up on that. Instead, keep it as simple as possible. And yes, check out my blog post on this at johnloomer.com/simple. I also did a whole podcast episode on it back in March. Go back, check it out. I know this sounds crazy, but most advertisers, again, I'm not talking about, hey, I'm spending thousands of dollars per day and all this kind of stuff. The vast majority of advertisers, so everybody else who's spending hundreds or less, can get away with a single campaign. That doesn't mean I'm saying you should only run a single campaign, but you can. And it might be better for you with a single ad set optimized for conversions and a handful of good, well thought out ads. That might not be your long-term approach, but it's honestly a great way to figure out what's working and what's not, and understanding what is getting in the way of good results. Because when you've simplified it like that and it doesn't work, guess what? It's not because of campaign construction. It's not because of a magical strategy that you failed to implement. And to be honest, when you realize this, it's freeing. So shift your focus back to your ads, your product, and your landing page. And then ask yourself, why aren't people converting? What could you do differently with your ad copy, creative, your offer, or landing page construction to improve results? And then try again. The problem is that most advertisers, when things don't work, add more complexity. They think the problem is how they're running their ads rather than the ads or products themselves. So ignore all of that noise and focus. Before we wrap up here, just one quick word about one of the many ways that I can help you. So whether you're running an agency or running ads for others or running ads for yourself, maybe you need a little bit of extra help. I set aside 45-minute blocks where I run one-on-one sessions, where we can walk through your individual advertising challenges to come up with a solution, a strategy, a way forward to break through whatever obstacles you may be facing. Now, these sessions aren't for everybody. I highly recommend that you're already spending at least a few $1,000s per month in ads. So then when we have this 45-minute session, you'll have at least 1, 2, 3 takeaways that could potentially make a difference. This isn't about a magic wand that will fix everything for you. It's about helping you better understand how advertising works and what obstacles you may be creating for yourself, and maybe having some specific things to try to see if it fixes your problem. So if you're interested in setting up a one-on-one with me, go to johnloomer.com/coach. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, do awesome things. I'm out.